So, executive producer Carrie Mudd, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
AKA bitch.
She's working a little on a different pay grade at this point today.
Oh, good.
Let's start again.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
That was a fun introduction. Back to that.
So we're still here at Fan Expo,
Right.
and
We are, in fact.
we've been kind of excited about this one since it was offered to us. We're sitting across from Brad Wright and Eric McCormack. Gentlemen, let me get my geek out for just a second. Number one, Stargate. Oh. Needs to come back, like in some form. I know they're talking about doing another reboot trilogy or whatever, but
Yeah, they're not going to ask me to do it. So,
but the television, as much as I love the movie, the television series was so much better.
Thank you.
Just because, and all of it, and it got. Do not take this the wrong way. It started light, like SG1's kind of light.
It
Atlantis gets a little more serious, and then Universe was even more so, and it just I love that.
Thank you.
So, and Eric, right out of left field, Free Enterprise. Oh my God!
You've never seen that.
No, I don't think so.
You'd enjoy that.
First movie I watched that I saw myself and all my friends. I'm like,
You're kidding?
no, this is like, these are people I know. I grew up with these
These are
people.
my people.
Yeah, and it was just like a revelation that these people are. There's more than just me.
It's about Star Trek
Yeah.
fans, and they actually develop a relationship with Bill Shatner as himself, who I guess is here today.
He is,
right
yeah.
somewhere. It's very fun.
Yeah, it was great. But that's not why we're here.
No.
We're here to talk about Travelers. I saw the first episode last night. I need more. I need more now.
Good. We made more. We made 11 more. So
Which is great. And I love the fact that, like, carrying on from Stargate, it's, you know, this is a much more serious kind of look at present day through people coming back from the future, which I love. What drew both of you to the project?
Well, I originally came up with the idea just because I became interested in social media and what that might mean as the core, as the beginning of an idea for a television show. Because for the last 10 or 15 years, we've been putting ourselves out there as a you know, into the world, into the web, and it's going to be there forever, well into the future. For example, but who is that person? Is it who we really are, or is it a projection of who we want the world to see? And that was the beginning of the idea that developed into Travelers. And
We keep talking about this idea of historical record. Historical record was always written down by somebody whose job it was to write down historical things.
Yeah.
I mean, from the Bible on through, and suddenly it's not
we don't have that
anyone's
anymore.
job anymore. It's everyone's job, and everyone. And someone was saying the other day, even with regards to this election, there was a time when an election there was one truth and two
Yeah.
sides fighting about that truth.
Yeah.
Now there's two truths because the truths are invented by whoever wants to invent truth.
Yeah.
So if this election, for instance, is looked at in 300 years, how the hell is anyone going to get a sense of what really happened? And those are the mistakes
The
that get
people
made.
who are here
you
have
know?
no idea.
Yeah.
the good news is there will be a record of whoever voted for Donald Trump, and I think the future
can-
is going to want to know who they are.
Yes.
Yes,
I want that list sent to my house.
right. I'm gonna bet that and just go through it. But yeah, I love
Stop
that
that genetics
idea of,
system right now.
of social media because I read an article, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, where they talk about this very thing, how there used to be a written historical record for everything, and now it's all out there on the web. One EMP, and all that is gone. We're in a dark ages.
Now you're getting into season 3 stories,
Yes! I can help you break this. I can help you break this. But I love that, and I just love the fact that, yes, you're dealing with science fiction elements by bringing these travelers back, but it's very much grounded in reality. All these characters have lives, they have to interact with one another in a new way.
I was saying, well, what drew me to the script, besides just how smart it was, because I wasn't out there looking for a science fiction script, it was more the undercover element, that all of these 5 travelers, when they're not doing something kind of sci-fi mission-y, most of the time they're having to live somebody else's life.
Yes.
And really well, like as the best actor they can possibly be, and they don't get a break from it. They can't, they could get caught at any minute in a lie or in just not having done their job well enough. And so their job initially involved doing some research, but as we were saying, if all the research they have is somebody's Facebook page or their wedding announcement, the rest of it is up to them on a constant improv basis, and that, I think, is the most interesting element of the show.
Yeah. And already you can see how the series can walk from drama to comedy, because MacKenzie Porter, I think, is my new crush.
Yeah.
She's adorable in this. And
Not ours.
No.
Jeez.
And her the opening scene in the series, that completely sold me because, of course, everybody's already talked about it, the countdown clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as that popped up, I'm like, this is going to be brilliant and awesome. And then the clock keeps going. I'm like, this is so. That's the one you guys had.
Nice idea, Brad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice idea.
And just to see the transformation in her character, and then watching it happen to the
Right.
other travelers as they come in, I just love how that was created. I mean, did you guys sit down? How did you break that up?
I mean, it was an element of the script that Nick Horan, who is our pilot director, and I had to talk about a lot in terms of how we were going to do it. And I have to give Nick a lot of credit for the visual style of the transitions, because he made much more of a meal of it than we had originally intended, and with the cuts and the cutting away to black, and there's a moment in every transition where the incoming traveler is quite sanguine and not going through agony, and that is a visual representation of the arriving traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's quite stylized and very cool. And later on in the series, we explore what it would look like on a videotape, and it's not the same, obviously.
Ooh.
The video just futzes. Because if that happened every time a traveler came, that we would pretty much get discovered. So it's a bit of a conceit for the audience, but it's very powerful. And every one of the first four in the T's of the transitions, every one of the transitions in the series, frankly, is, and because it happens quite frequently, is a powerful moment.
Mm-hmm. And then it's credit to all the actors, because you can see immediately the physical change, the way they carry themselves, the way they just their facial expressions, everything is unique.
Great.
I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but your transformation when it happens is like.
That was a big selling point for
Yeah.
me when I finished the script. Was okay. That's a good.
Stuff just got real.
A lot, well, particularly because when you read a lot of pilots, the big thing is to open them in a really interesting way, which clearly this does.
Oh my God.
But they don't always necessarily have the greatest ending, because you're not ending a show. You're just creating the beginning of hopefully years of television. This one had such a great
Right.
transition into another episode that I think that's what most of the people we've shown the pilot to go, oh
Yeah.
no, what's next, which is all you want.
That was-
That's exactly.
yeah.
I mean, the last line of the pilot is an invitation to watch the second episode,
totally.
like I've never come up with before.
It's fantastic. I mean, and I'm not giving anything away because we don't do that.
Mhm.
But that, when the phone falls down the shaft, I'm like, oh God. And I'm looking at like how much time is left in the episode. I'm like, this is not getting resolved anytime soon.
Good.
Damn it. So yeah, I'm addicted already.
Great.
So keep it up.
There's so much you can do with it too,
Oh
because
my
like
God,
I was
yeah.
thinking like, like what would I think if we're like sitting around one day and he says something that's completely out of character? I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, do you go like aliens? Like, what would I actually think? Everybody would have a different reaction to why somebody, maybe they're having mental health problems or something. Like there's
You're
all
exactly
kinds
right.
of
And every
explanations we make up for ourselves.
every one of our travelers has their own reason for behaving slightly differently too. Trevor had a concussion.
Mhm.
Marcy was in a traumatic experience and hit her head pretty badly, to which David responds that he thinks a miracle has happened. He literally thinks something happened that has entirely changed her personality for the better. And in every case, there's a bit of an excuse. Actually, you have the biggest challenge of all of them.
Had the biggest what?
Challenge.
Oh,
no real excuse other than tiredness of the night before.
That's right. No, but I do have. Each of the others has kind of one key person they have to keep pulling the wool over. I got
Yeah, you
two,
got two.
very May. I've got a wife that we'll meet in the second episode. It's hard to pull off everything with a wife that you've never actually slept with before. And but my partner at work, who we meet in the pilot, who knows me very well. And those are two very different sides of a character that I have to keep those plates in the air.
So that's not just a challenge story-wise, but it's also a challenge as an actor as well, because
Yeah.
you've got to walk that line between showing that this character might not know what to do, but also do it believably and so,
Right,
yeah.
and it's what's great about that is that if we're doing our job right, it never really goes away. You have those initial moments where the characters are seeing sun for the first time and tasting tuna fish for the first time or whatever, but it never really goes. Maybe down the road he'll get very used to being an FBI agent, but for now, there's always a little piece of him just checking out how everybody else is being an FBI agent. You're constantly on guard to make sure you're pulling it off. And we've seen lots of comedy movies where that's the fun part, whether it be Tootsie or whatever else. But the fact that this is so serious, that this is life and death, and that they actually have a much bigger mission at stake. It's not all just about fooling everybody. They have to fool everybody in order to save humanity.
So there's that.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as I watched the episode and all these travelers are popping up, and obviously we learn that they're all in the same city, my brain goes, well, that really doesn't make sense. And then it's kind of revealed about 3/4 of the way through that there are thousands of these travelers, and my brain just going, oh, this is going to be... Yeah, so we're in for the long haul, and I don't want...
So trust no one.
Yeah,
basically.
trust no one.
There's a couple of very interesting ways that Brad reveals that global thing over the course of the first season. Really interesting.
So forward to that idea. It just blows my mind. Do you guys have an end game for the series? Like, do you know, like, have you kind of said, all right, we'll do 5 seasons and that's it, we know exactly where the story ends? Or is it like
My character's 65th birthday, I think, is the big finale.
Yes, it is now.
There you go.
It is now. I do have an end game for it, but it's in a way open-ended until then.
That's fair.
I have an idea for what the ending can and should be. It's very thematic. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
all right.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good
right
taste.
movie.
Yeah. Mm.
Very nice.
How much prep did you do? Like, your character doesn't know what's going to happen, obviously. He doesn't know, like, the little intricacies of the person he's supposed to be. Like, how much did you know as an actor going into it? As far as, like what's new and what are you discovering as you go?
Right. Well, I mean,
For script.
it's a good question because, as you saw, I'm not in the pilot a whole lot. So, and the pilot was directed, unlike the other shows which we did some in blocks of 2, it was directed on its own. And so I was a little bit in the dark even though I'd read the second episode and the third, in terms of meeting the actress that was going to play my wife. I mean, that was, as so often happens, what so often happens as an actor, you meet an actress and your first scene up is a love scene and it's so awkward. But this is supposed to be. So all the awkwardness played into it. It was kind of great. And the fact that I'd only just met Arnold, whatever, these all worked for me and not against me,
Excellent.
So.
Now, we've already heard the elevator pitch, we've already heard the time travel story, because, not that we eavesdrop at all, we just want to ask the same questions over and over again, and we don't want those things. Favorite takeaway so far from the series?
Favorite takeaway?
Not like dinner, but...
No.
Not take out.
Okay, here's mine. My favorite takeaway of this show is that sometimes I get a feeling that I want to do this a long time,
Nice.
and sometimes I get the feeling of, oh, this is going to be some work, and in this one I get the feeling I could do this a long time.
Oh, that's
We got a good bunch of folks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of legs in this concept, and we have a very good time. So
those are key.
I mean, part of when this is what you do for a living, part of it's not just the material, because you live with that all the time. Part of it is, what is your life for the 6 or 8 months that you're doing this, and when it is fulfilling and engaging and fun, and you make friends, and you get to have fun, and have a job. It's amazing.
I think my favorite takeaway is one that you and I kind of came to at the same time. The second episode is at least a piece of it is a very action-y episode. It is, we see the first piece of our mission that we're here to do. And a lot of time and money was spent making that happen. But then the end of 2 and 3 is a little bit more of what we've been talking about, the domestic side, we're here forever. We're in 2016 for the rest of our mission. And we've both kind of realized around the same time, separately, that that's kind of where the show lives in ways that we hadn't even anticipated. And it's why it's a little bit less, perhaps, science fiction than I thought it was going to be. And I'm delighted. That's my favorite takeaway, is that, wow, I get to do this kind of drama with these sci-fi elements.
Which I like,
Okay, and because that was a better answer than mine, I'm going to add that when the show is at its best, it's doing both.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got a character relationship dilemma at its core, and we're also doing something that is fairly profound. And we get to do that a couple of times this season, and those episodes kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my last question, and I don't expect a real answer on this. Do we get to find out what happened to humanity?
What we what we have done throughout the first season and what we will continue to do is tease little things. We have a sort of world that we know we have fled, but it's also transitioning.
Okay.
It's also changing, because
Yeah.
keep in mind, we're doing stuff in present day that may or may not have an impact. And so the things that, and I guarantee you that the things that end up happening that we get tiny pieces of are not A, what we intended, or B, what we hoped for. So it's both of those were really A, but
And another
made
A.
it sound more sophisticated.
That was a double A. That was a double A.
Gentlemen, like I said, you've got me sold on the show. I will be there for the entire series.
Great.
So loved what I saw, loved the look, loved the feel. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Great pleasure. Thanks.
Gentlemen, thank you.